Open Line.
Hey there, this is Open Line. My name is Tammy Heidi, and joining us is Ed Begley Jr. Thanks for joining us on Open Line, Ed.
Tammy, thanks so much for having me on.
Well, I know you're busy and you're on location, but you are going to be here in Los Angeles on September 13th to host the 9th annual EarthFest Los Angeles.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that. It's a great festival every year, and I'm looking forward to being part of it this year. Now,
have you been part of it in the past?
I have not. I'm sorry to say this will be my first, but I'm very excited. I've heard great things about it, and it should be a very, very nice event this year.
Well, yeah, it is the 9th annual, and actually this is the first I've heard about it, so I maybe haven't been paying attention, but I'm glad, you're hosting it, and it seems like a really natural fit for you.
Yeah, it is. California Greenworks is involved, and lots of good people are involved, and it'll be there at Exposition Park, and I'm going to be there, and lots of fun stuff for the kids and people of every age. Be a great event, a wonderful green event, and so everybody please join me there.
Can I just let you know that you are one of the people that first made me kind of aware of environmental issues, or specifically, I saw you driving a Prius. I used to live in Laurel Canyon and on Ventura Boulevard, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Ed Begley Jr.
I took my wife's Prius, and many times I've taken it for longer drives, but around L.A., my transportation hierarchy is as follows. Number one is walking. I live in a very walkable neighborhood in Studio City. Number two is my bicycle. Number three is my transit pass. I take L.A. Transit, the train and the bus around. Number four is my electric car, and a distant fifth is that Prius that you saw me in. I might have been going out of town or coming from out of town some long distance that the electric car wouldn't handle, but that's it. I try to use the cleanest, greenest mode of transportation wherever I can, and the Prius has actually got to get in line for space number 5.
Is that something like, electric cars, hybrids, those kind of things, is that something that is going to be talked about or dealt with at the Environmental Expo?
Yeah, we'll talk about that and, talk about what's affordable, because not everybody can afford a Nissan Leaf like I drive. It's a wonderful car, and I use that a lot of the time. But a lot of people can do those first 3 things that I do. A lot of people can walk. They live in walkable neighborhoods, like the Crenshaw District is a very walkable neighborhood, as is Studio City, many other wonderful neighborhoods around this fine city of L.A. And then bike riding, a lot of people, if weather and fitness permit, can ride a bicycle. And public transportation is very good, and I will surely, definitely take public transportation down there because it's an easy ride for me to get from Laurel and Ventura, where I live, to the Red Line train, and from there take the Expo line right to Exposition Park. There's a stop right there, right in front of the event, and that's what I do whenever I go to Exposition Park or USC or anything like that. And so we'll be talking about green things that people can do that are affordable, and some people, if they have the resources, doctors, lawyers, actors, people who have the resources, want to get an electric car. It's a wonderful way to go. I have nothing against electric cars, but what I am in favor of is people doing all the cheap and easy stuff that they can, because that's the way I started in 1970, Tammy. I didn't have an acting career to speak of. I was a struggling actor, a wannabe, so I did all the cheap and easy stuff back then and instantly saved money.
There are all kinds of inexpensive and simple things that people can do. Do you have a couple other environmental tips, maybe?
Yeah, number one, walk if you can, or take public transportation, or ride a bicycle if weather and fitness permit. Those are good things to do. Around the house, turn off the lights, turn down the thermostat, in the summer, turn it down in the winter to a lower temperature, and turn it up to a higher temperature in the summer. Just save some money in that way. Turn off the lights when you're not in the room. And then vampire power is another good one where you can save a lot of money. It's also called phantom power. What that is things that you have plugged in around the house that you think are off, but they're not really off. A television set, some sort of electronic device that has a little power supply plugged in. All those things suck power like a vampire. They suck from you, giving you nothing in return. When you go to sleep or leave the house, you do not need them on. Put them on power strips, all that vampire power stuff. It's easy to figure out, which is which. The things you need to leave on, let's say your clock radio, let's say your fax machine if you have one, or your things like that you need to have on all the time. You can have those plugged in, but all the other stuff, put it on power strips. Walk around the house, 1, 2, 3, turn off those 3 power strips, let's say, in your house or apartment, and all that stuff will not be on at all, and you'll save a lot of money. There's another good way. Weather stripping is another good one. Energy-saving thermostat, and don't just put it in or have somebody put it in. Make sure you program it with a proper wake and sleep, leave and return mode, so you really save money and make the most out of that energy-saving thermostat. So there's a few right there that people can do, all of which are quite inexpensive.
We're talking to Ed Begley Jr. He's the host of the 9th Annual EarthFest Los Angeles 2015, coming up at Exposition Park on September 13th here in Los Angeles. And what are some other focuses of this? Climate change, energy, water conservation?
We'll talk about that, of course, all those things. And water is a big one, for a lot of people here in the West. It's a big issue. And what I've done is, again, kind of a wonderful big-ticket item that I could afford. I put a nice rainwater tank underground, a large one, 10,000 gallons, so I'll collect a lot of rainwater from my roof. And the rest of my property, of course, will all be permeable, nearly all of it permeable. That is to say, the stuff that's not roof collecting the rain will be permeable and allow the water to go where it belongs, down into the groundwater, table, the water table, the aquifer, and can be reused again in many, many ways by the city of Los Angeles. So that's what we need to do. We need to save water. And before you think about doing a fancy big underground tank like I did, you can do what I did for years on a budget, which is to do poor man's rainwater capture. You just get a hacksaw and a rain barrel, and you put up on some blocks one of those rain barrels you can get online. They'll probably have some at the expo. I'm sure they'll have them for exhibition or for sale. And you can collect rainwater from your downspout and use that to water plants and do any number of things with. And so collecting rainwater is a good one. Shorter showers, water-saving faucets and shower heads, all of that stuff, water-saving appliances. There's many different ways that we can save water, and we need to do it all because we got a real bad drought situation in the Southwest, as you know.
There's also a lot of fun things going on. It's not only an expo, but it's a concert. We're
going to have some great musical acts. When we give the website, people will be able to check it out and just do the search word September 13th, Exposition Park, for this Green Festival, and people will be able to know the lineup of what acts are going to be there. Yeah, EarthFestLA, just look that up, EarthFestLA. And we should have a lineup listed there. At this point, we're getting close enough. I think they'll have a good idea of who's going to be there. EarthFestLA, the 13th, is when I'm going to be there. And
you have to MC, so
I got to be there.
You have to start getting your band introductions ready.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule. What are you working on, by the way, if I can ask?
I signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. I'm not allowed to talk about this wonderful show, but you're going to like it. It's a great show, and it's going to be a big surprise that I'm on it. But I wish I could talk about doing a movie, too, where I signed a similar NDA with that, non-disclosure agreement, a big, wonderful movie that everybody's going to see. So I'm working on some great projects, and you'll hear more about them later.
Well, thank you so much, Ed Begley Jr., for joining us here on Open Line to talk about EarthFest Los Angeles 2015.
Thank you, Tammy.